Okay, you essentially answered number one, but you talked about reasons for running for city council. Is there any other things that have motivated you to run for city council, things that you have seen that kind of piqued your interest?
Yeah, I've watched them, and they have a hard time making decisions, and it takes them a long time to make the decisions, and they can't evaluate the city manager. And I'm not knocking the city council members; they're all very good people, but I think that needs a change, and it needs the council has to work together and work towards the right direction.
What is motivating you, though, to run for city council? What do you hope to bring to the table?
My motivation to run for city council was I feel the city is completely disorganized. I don't think it has the right leadership. I don't think they're going the right direction. They don't look into things before they jump. I mean, if it was a private budget, a lot of the things that were happening down in the city right now wouldn't be happening because we would decide that we couldn't afford to do them.
In terms of city staff and the leadership of City Hall, what are your specific concerns, and what, if any, changes you would like to accomplish if elected?
Well, number one, I'd like to see this city staff get together and work together. The city council, the staff, and everybody at City Hall needs to work together. And it's just like any business that you would have. If you can't work together, you're not going to have a very good business. And so that basically was the whole thing. And I know there's talk that Gary Baycock, the city manager, needs to go. Well, I think probably the city has outgrown Gary, but you know, anybody that's running for an office like this, and he's going to be working with Gary or you or anybody else, you deserve the right to be able to work with him for a while before you're pressured into trying to get you to fire him.
Okay, you've kind of touched on some of the areas for questions. You talked about the city staff and leadership. What changes would you want to accomplish if elected?
Well, I would like to see Fernley. I feel in City Hall in Fernley right now, you walk in there and it says, go away, we're too busy, we don't want you here, and leave us alone. And what I would like to see is, welcome to Fernley, what can we do to help you bring your businesses to the community? I worked for a national building contractor for 7 years. I traveled all through the United States. Every place we went, Dallas, Fort Worth, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, St. Louis, Missouri. The city's bent over backwards when you were bringing a business to them. That's not happening in Fernley. And I want to know why it's not happening in Fernley.
Given the cost overruns on the water treatment plant and the ongoing nature of change orders that keep driving the costs up, is there a dollar figure or a point where you would draw the line and say enough is enough?
It's getting pretty close. But, you know, you're at a point now where do you go? You don't tear the thing down and scrap it and start all over again. And so you've got to finish it. And I think you've got to work with whoever is heading it up at that particular time and whoever's running it, and make sure that they hold the cost down. And when they get a price on something, get a price on it. Don't get give them a free reign to do whatever they want.
Previously, you mentioned something about water treatment plant. That's where our next question is going. As you very well know, the ongoing nature of the plant, the changing orders that keep driving the costs up. Is there a dollar figure or a point where you would draw the line and say enough is enough?
Yeah, when we run out of money, I'd say enough is enough. Let's don't fund any more bonds for this thing. Let's go back to D.C., or get Mr. Reed back out here and some of the other congressmen that did this federal mandate to us 20 years ago and say, hey guys, we were misguided here a little bit by our previous staff and city council, and they didn't address the issue, and we okayed this thing when the downturn was here and we had no money coming in to pay for it, but we went ahead and proceeded anyways. And then asked them to come up with possibly some grants to finish it, or maybe if it's not finished, turn it over to the federal government and let them operate it. It's an enterprise fund. It's not supposed to make any money, it's supposed to service the city of Vernon. Long before I ever threw my hat in the ring, I got involved with the meetings at City Hall, cautioning them about proceeding in the manner they were proceeding. They had several ways to address it, which would have not affected the residents of Fernley as bad as it's going to affect the water users and possibly the taxpayers in town right now. Mesa Drive is in my area. The city drained the wells when they did a study, and supposedly it was only affecting one well in that area. Well, it dried up the wells on everybody on the lower half of Mesa Drive, which is about 7 people. So the city had to do something. It took them 8 months to get the water line in there so the people could start using their washers and dryers, water their lawns, to utilize the properties that they're paying on. The city did come in and hook them up free gratis. Where they were paying to water their lawns was $100 a month. Those bills went up to $400 and $500 a month because they're used to city water now.
If elected, what would be 3 key areas you would want to address or needed improvements in your ward?
Well, I would like to see the city council, for one, make a decision on when they start a housing development and they have access roads or need paving or need bridges or whatever is needed. That should be done first and then build the house. And that's not anything against its builders or the developers. I think this is a proper way to do it. And that way when you move in, and if they can only build half the houses and then they go bankrupt or something like this, then you know the people that move in there, they've got access roads. They have the bridges in. They have all the amenities that they really are paid for. And that's pretty much how I do.
If elected, what would be 3 key areas you would want to address or needed improvements in your ward?
Well, my ward encountered the flood problem this year. They encountered the Mesa Drive water treatment plant. Those people have been suffering for months and months over this thing. I don't know whether you could just pinpoint it to one specific ward. On the other side of Farm District Road here, it gives you clear water between autumn wind and summer breeze. Last night I brought a project to the city council to get that bridge opened up for health and safety issues. We have a beautiful bridge there right now. The bridge is in place to allow the people to drive, or the fire truck to drive over, is not rated to carry that fire truck. So if there's a fire over there, and they drive the fire truck over, there's a possibility that bridge can collapse and injure some firemen. The city has given me the go-ahead to go out and find the resources at no charge to the city to build a rampway, make that safe for pedestrians and vehicular traffic. And, it's just common sense stuff. It doesn't cost anything. It's just common sense stuff, and that's not going on at the city. 4 months ago, I asked about that bridge, and nobody did anything. Now I've got everybody at the city hall willing to work with me because it is something that we can do at no charge.
Do you think Fernley would benefit from a city center or town square project? And if so, what do you think the council can do to help foster that kind of development?
I do think it would be nice to have a city center where they could have functions. Right now is really a bad time to try to do something like that because of the economy. I support something like that, but it's just got to get to a point where we're making some money and we can do things. Right now, you can't.